Thank you very much. I'll open the floor for a few questions, and I'll start with Lisa.
Thank you. Lisa Hesselund from TV2 Denmark. I have a question first for you, Prime Minister, and then I would like to ask you also a question, Madam President. First, Mette Frederiksen, today French authorities have boarded a Russian vessel regarded to be part of the shadow fleet. There is a suspicion of this vessel having a direct connection with these airspace, drone incursions of Danish airspace. So my first question for you is, can you confirm this connection? I understand that there is an investigation launched. 2 arrests have been made on this ship. Can you confirm this connection first? And also, is this investigation happening on a request from the Danish authorities? That's for you. And then for you, Madam President, the reparations loan for Ukraine it's no secret that it's a very sensitive debate. There are some countries very skeptical. Belgium, for example, where these funds are hosted. Has Belgium and other countries gotten this solidarity that they have been asking for in terms of making this a possibility? Is there unanimity on this measure to go down this path? Thank you.
So thank you for this question. I cannot comment on any specific investigations. I can say in more general terms that we are facing a lot of problems with the shadow fleet. And that has been the case, especially in the Baltic Sea, for quite a long time. And we are working very closely together to battle this situation. But when it comes to specific investigations, I have no comments.
Yeah, I had the opportunity today to present the Commission's proposal, and we had a very good first discussion. It's the start of a discussion. Of course, we have to flesh out the whole proposal much more, but I was glad to see leaders' interest in the concept. So now we will intensify the discussions. I want to thank explicitly Friedrich Merz, who was immediately backing this proposal, also by an op-ed that he wrote, and he was very early supporting this proposal. Now, what Belgium is concerned, it's absolutely clear that Belgium cannot be the one who is the only member state that is carrying the risk, but the risks have to be put on broader shoulders.
Thank you. Yeah. Andrew.
Hello, Andrew Gray from Reuters. I wanted to come to the issue of the drone wall. I noticed President Costa, President von der Leyen, you both used that term, but Prime Minister Frederiksen didn't. And we've heard from some leaders today that they agree with the general idea that Europe needs to do more to counter drones, but they don't always agree with the focus on the eastern flank. And in particular, we've seen in Denmark recently, obviously, that drones can cause big problems far from the eastern flank and without having crossed the EU's eastern borders. So do you see any need to rethink either the concept or the name of this plan, perhaps to give it a more pan-European element, or will it stay as it is? And perhaps, Prime Minister Frederiksen, you can explain why you didn't use the term drone wall.
Should I start?
Yes, of course.
I don't really care about the name as long as it works. So yeah, you cannot explain anything about me using the word or not. We have had a long discussion about it today. And actually, in substance, it was a very interesting discussion because everybody knows now that the drones have changed the whole idea of a war and the effect of drones is changing everything. And we see it every day now in Ukraine. In Denmark, we have been working closely together with the Ukrainians on this question. Now we have tried it ourselves last week. We totally agree cross-border within the European Union that we need to invest much more in drone technology. in countering drones, as you said, but also in new technologies and innovation. So we totally agree on that, but we also know that the technology is changing so rapidly that we cannot have one idea and believe that that will solve all our problems. So I like the idea of a drone wall, but we have to be very frank to the Europeans that no matter what kind of capabilities we are able to buy, to innovate, to build up, there will still be drones coming into Europe. What we have talked about today is building up a European ecosystem like the ones we have in Ukraine. By the way, I think it is extremely important that we integrate Ukraine in all our work from the very beginning, because they are the experts. So building up a European ecosystem is the most important thing. Of course, it has to focus on the eastern flank because the eastern flank is closest to Russia. But at the same time, we have this, I think, general approach that security is, first of all, a question about Russia, unfortunately. But it's also a question about migration. It's also a question about climate change. It's also a question about any other threats against our society. So I don't really think there is a conflict between East or West on this issue. It has to be useful in many different areas, but of course it has to be linked to the eastern flank as well.
Yeah, the nature of warfare has completely changed. That is what we have seen in the Russian invasion in Ukraine. Partially per night, the Ukrainians are intercepting 800 drones. So this gives us an idea how enormous the threat is, and they can come from anywhere. So the original idea came from Ukraine, and we are learning from Ukraine. Of course, at the moment being in the debate, the first priority for building up an anti-drone system is the eastern flank, because it's clear that these are the member states that are acutely the most exposed. But indeed, Mette, as you said, that the vision is much, much broader, and it has to have the 360-degree approach. So this anti-drone system is conceived as a shield for our entire continent. This would also include, for example, the southern flank. It is designed to address a wide spectrum. You mentioned weaponized migration, but also hybrid operations, drone incursions, as we have seen, but also control of the Russian shadow fleets, for example, or even the risk of armed aggression when you see the amassing of troops. So there can be a wide spectrum in the anti-drone system and the use of drones or anti-drones mechanism. In general, the drone wall will strengthen the borders on land, at sea and in the air, and thus not only protect the frontline state, but will contribute to the security of our whole European Union.
I just want to allow that at the European Council was very clear that we need to have a 360 degrees approach and look at our external borders as our common borders, in the eastern, in the north, in the south, in the west. And of course, for everybody, now the main threat we are facing now comes from Russia, and especially on the eastern flank. That's the reason that we are looking for the eastern flank as a priority. And of course, we can discuss what is the best trademark for this concept, for this idea. But I recall that when in March we defined our 9 main priorities on capabilities, one of them was drone and anti-drone systems. Then now is a matter of trademark.